Once upon a time, there was a kingdom filled with peace and laughter. At the heart of this kingdom lived the princess named Chiamaka. She was not only beautiful, but she was humble, and that was what made the people love her even more. She greeted everyone from the palace guards to the farmers who brought food to the gates. She listened to their worries and sometimes even cried with them. The people said she had the beauty of a rose and the heart of a lamb. In the palace, she had a maid named Nenna. Nenna had been with her since childhood. They grew up together, slept in the same quarters, and shared secrets. To everyone's eyes, Nenna was loyal and gentle. But in her heart, she burned with jealousy. Each time people praised the princess, Nenna smiled on the outside, but felt bitterness on the inside. She wanted the princess's life, her clothes, her respect, her laughter, her beauty, and above all, the prince who was promised to marry her. The announcement of the royal marriage came one bright morning. Messengers from a faraway town arrived with gifts and words from Prince Obinna, a wealthy and handsome man. The people danced, the princess blushed, but in Nenna's heart, a new fire of envy grew stronger. And so, while everyone celebrated, Nenna began to plan quietly. Preparations for the journey began quickly. The king wanted his daughter, Princess Chiamaka, to meet Prince Obinna in person. It was a tradition for the bride to travel with an escort and arrive with dignity. The king trusted Nenna the maid more than anyone else because she had grown up with the princess. So he chose her to travel with Chiamaka along with a few guards to lead them part of the way. On the night before the journey, the queen called her daughter aside. She warned her of many things, the dangers of strangers, the tricks of the road, and most of all, the mysterious river on the way to Prince Obinna's town. The queen's voice was heavy as she said, "Do not go near that river. It has swallowed many lives. Promise me, my daughter, that you will not stop there." Chiamaka nodded. She promised, but Nenna, who stood in the corner, heard everything. Her eyes narrowed and an idea entered her heart. That night, while the princess slept peacefully, Nenna lay awake on her mat. She thought of the prince. She thought of the golden clothes packed in the chests. She thought of the crown that would soon sit on Chiamaka's head. And then she thought of the river. A wicked smile crept across her face. By dawn, the drums sounded. The princess wore a white gown, her beauty glowing like the morning sun. People lined the road to wave goodbye. Nenna walked behind her, carrying baskets, bowing and smiling. But in her heart, she was waiting for the moment when her plan would begin. The journey began with music and cheer. Drummers followed them for the first mile, and villagers sang blessings for the princess. But soon the crowd thinned, and only the guards, the princess and Nenna remained on the winding road. The sun rose higher, and the path grew dusty. Chiamaka stayed cheerful, smiling at birds and greeting passerbys. She trusted everyone and saw goodness in all. Nenna, however, watched her closely. Each smile from the princess was like a knife in her chest. At midday, they reached a crossroad. A tired old woman sat by the roadside with a calabash of water. She begged them for help. "Please give me food. I have not eaten in 2 days," the woman whispered. Chiamaka ordered the guards to stop. She opened her bag and gave the woman some bread. The woman looked into her eyes and said, "Your kindness will save you, even in dark waters." Then she blessed the princess and turned away. Nenna frowned. She didn't like the strange words. She didn't like how everyone, even beggars, seemed to adore the princess. As the journey went on, the guards announced they would not travel past nightfall. They would stop at a nearby village and continue in the morning. Before they left, one of them reminded the princess, "The river is ahead tomorrow. Remember the warning." That night, the princess slept peacefully under the stars. Nena lay beside her, staring at the dark sky. The words of the queen echoed in her mind, "Do not go near the river." But in Nena's heart, she whispered, "That river will give me everything I desire." At sunrise, they set out again. The air was cool, and the forest ahead hummed with the sound of insects and birds. The road sloped down, and soon they heard the rushing sound of water. The guards tightened their grip on their spears. One of them said, "The river is near, we must not stop." Chiamaka nodded. She remembered her mother's warning, but Nena's eyes lit up. The water glistened in the distance, wide and deep, with mist rising from its surface. It looked peaceful, but there was something strange about it. The birds did not fly too close. The trees bent away from the bank as if afraid. When they reached the bank, the guards crossed quickly. They urged the princess to follow, but Nena touched her arm. "My lady," she said softly, "the journey has been long. Look at this clear water. Why don't we rest? Why don't you bathe your feet before we continue?" Chiamaka hesitated. "No, Nena, my mother warned me. We must not stop here." Nena smiled gently, hiding her malice. "But you are tired. The prince will expect you to arrive fresh and glowing. This water will renew you. Do you not see how pure it is?" The princess looked again. The water sparkled in the sunlight. Her legs ached from walking. She trusted in Nena, who had always been by her side. Against her better judgment, she nodded. The guards warned again, but the princess insisted she only wanted a moment. They stood aside uneasy. Chiamaka removed her sandals and stepped closer to the water. Nena's hand shook, not with fear but with excitement. The moment she had been waiting for was finally here. Princess Chiamaka bent by the river and touched the water with her fingers. It was cool and gentle. She smiled and said, "Truly, this feels refreshing." She sat on a stone and dipped her feet inside. Nena stood beside her, watching closely. Her heart pounded. For years, she had dreamed of this chance, and now it was before her. She spoke softly. "Why don't you bathe, my lady? The dust of the road clings to your skin. The prince will be pleased if you arrive clean and glowing." Chiamaka hesitated again, but Nena began to unlace the ties of her gown, pretending to help. She whispered, "Only a moment, no harm." The princess sighed. She trusted her maid. She stood, stepped into the shallow water, and lowered herself deeper. The ripples spread across the river, and suddenly the mist around them thickened. Nena's eyes gleamed. With one sharp push, she shoved Chiamaka forward. The princess gasped and fell, her cry echoing through the forest. The water swallowed her whole. The guards rushed forward, but by the time they reached the bank, the river had gone calm, as if nothing had happened. Nena clutched Chiamaka's gown in her hands. She screamed and pretended to weep. "The princess has drowned. The river has taken her." But beneath the water, something strange happened. Chiamaka opened her eyes, and instead of choking, she found that she could breathe. Her legs tingled and twisted, changing into a shimmering tail of silver and blue. She had become a mermaid, bound to the waters. Above the surface, Nena dried her tears and slipped into the princess's clothes. She turned to the guards and said with a steady voice, "I am your princess now. We must go on." The guards, shaking and confused, obeyed. They did not dare question the will of the river. And so, the journey continued, but the true princess was trapped beneath the waves, watching with sorrow. Beneath the river, Princess Chiamaka floated in silence. At first, she panicked, trashing her new tail, but soon she realized she was not alone. Strange figures glided towards her, women with long hair and glistening tails. Their eyes glowed faintly in the water. They were mermaids, bound to the river for centuries. One of them spoke in a voice that echoed like drums in a cave. "You are not the first daughter of men. Many have entered these waters, some by mistake, some by deceit. Now you belong here." Chiamaka begged them, "Please, I must return. My people wait for me. My parents will grieve. I was betrayed." The oldest mermaid swam closer. Her face was stern. The river does not release its captives easily, but you have something different, the blessing of kindness. We felt it when you entered. Perhaps your story is not finished. Meanwhile, on land, Nana walked in the princess's gown, head lifted high. The guards, though troubled, followed her. They had seen the river claim people before. To them, it was not strange that the princess vanished. Still, they noticed something odd. Her voice was harsher, her steps bolder, and her eyes held no gentleness. But they said nothing. That evening, as they rested in a village square, people rushed out to welcome the princess. They bowed and offered gifts. Nana smiled proudly, something the real Chiamaka never did. An old woman who brought kola nuts looked closely at her and frowned. She muttered, "Her face is the same, but her spirit feels heavy." Nana ignored her. She was already dreaming of sitting beside Prince Obinna wearing jewels and finally being adored as she always wanted. But far beneath the waters, Chiamaka whispered to herself, "I will not remain here forever. Truth will rise just like the sun." The road to Prince Obinna's town was long, but Nana enjoyed every step. She wore Chiamaka's jewels, rode in her horses, and accepted praises that were not hers. The guards bowed to her and addressed her as my lady. She smiled widely, though inside she feared being discovered. At last, they entered the prince's town. The people lined the streets, beating drums and singing. Prince Obinna himself came out to greet her. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried himself with grace. When he saw her, his face lit up. He bowed and said, "Welcome, my princess." Nana nearly trembled. She had dreamed of this moment for years. She lowered her eyes to hide her excitement and replied softly, "I am honored, my prince." But as days passed, Obinna noticed strange things. The stories he had heard of Princess Chiamaka were of a gentle, humble woman who cared for everyone. Yet, this princess barked at servants, showed no patience for the poor, and frowned often. Obinna kept silent, but his heart grew uneasy. Meanwhile, deep in the river, Chiamaka learned more about her new form. The mermaids taught her to swim with speed and to sing with a voice that could make fish rise to the surface. Yet she never stopped longing for her family and her prince. One evening, the oldest mermaid spoke again. "If you wish to return, you must wait for truth to reveal itself. Your kindness above water has planted seeds. Those who truly know you will see through the lie." Chiamaka prayed silently, her tail glowing faintly. She believed her time would come. But above the water, Nana grew bolder. She now walked the palace like a queen already crowned. She told herself, "No one will ever know. I am the princess now." Life in Prince Obinna's palace moved with celebration and preparation. The wedding was about to take place soon, and the entire town rejoiced. Dancers practiced in the square, drummers rehearsed for hours, and women carried baskets of food to the palace. Everyone wanted to honor the union. But whispers began to spread. Servants noticed the change in the princess. They gossiped. Is this the same Chiamaka they spoke of? The one who was gentle and kind? Some said her beauty was real, but her spirit was different. Prince Obinna himself could not ignore it. One day he invited her to walk with him through the village. He expected her to greet the people in a warm, calm manner. Instead, when a hungry child tugged at her dress, she pushed him away. The prince frowned deeply but said nothing. That night, he remembered the stories of Chiamaka feeding the poor and speaking softly to children. He began to doubt. Meanwhile, beneath the river, Chiamaka listened to the mermaid stories. They told her how long ago jealous women and deceitful men had been pushed into the waters, turning into spirits of the deep. Their envy chained them there forever. Oldest mermaid looked at her and said, "Your maid is now walking in your place. If she does not confess, the river will claim her too in the end." Chiamaka wept. But how will anyone know the truth, she asked. The mermaid answered, truth cannot be hidden forever. It shines even in darkness. Wait, daughter of men, your day will come. And so, while the false princess prepared for her wedding, the real one waited in patience, her heart heavy but her hope alive. The palace was bright with wedding preparations, but unease followed Nnenna everywhere. She smiled and played the role of a princess, but her temper betrayed her often. One evening, a group of village women came with gifts of yams and palm oil. They sang praises for Chiamaka, recalling her kindness from past visits. But Nnenna looked at them with irritation. She dismissed them quickly, saying she was tired. The women walked away confused. This is not the princess we knew. They murmured among themselves. Her face is the same, but her spirit feels cold. Prince Obinna overheard. His doubts grew sharper. That night, he asked her gently, my princess, they say you once played with children in the market and knew the names of the elders by heart. Why do you not remember them now? Nnenna froze. She forced a smile and said, so many travels, so many faces, I cannot recall them all. The prince nodded slowly but did not press further. Meanwhile, strange things began happening by the river. Fishermen reported hearing a sweet voice singing under the river at night. They said the fish gathered when the song began, and the river glowed faintly in the moonlight. Some claimed it was the spirit of the real princess. Word spread through the town until it reached Obinna's ears. Curious and unsettled, the prince ordered a visit to the river. Nnenna panicked inside, but she hid her fear. She told herself, no one must ever know what I did here. Yet, under the river, Chiamaka felt her song rise higher every night. She sang not just to ease her sorrow, but to call for truth. And little by little, people were beginning to hear her. Princess Obinna gathered some elders, priests and guards, and they made their way to the river. The town had grown restless with the stories of singing beneath the water. Some said it was a good spirit, others said it was a warning. The prince himself wanted to see for himself. When they arrived, the river shimmered strangely under the morning sun. Mist rose like smoke, and the air felt colder than the rest of the forest. The priest poured libations and called for the river to reveal its secrets. The people waited in silence. Suddenly, a soft voice floated across the water. It was sweet, sorrowful, and haunting. The crowd gasped. Some women began to cry, for the voice sounded like Princess Chiamaka. Obinna's heart pounded. He stepped closer to the bank and whispered, Chiamaka. Nnenna, who had been forced to join the procession, nearly collapsed. Her hand shook as the sound grew louder. She muttered excuses. It is only the spirit of the river. We must not linger. But the people looked at her strangely. They saw fear in her eyes. The priest declared, this river holds a secret. Spirits do not sing without a reason. We must return again with sacrifices. The truth will rise. That night, Obinna could not sleep. The song of the river echoed in his ears. He remembered the gentle stories of the princess he was meant to marry, and he compared them with the coldness of the woman in his palace. Doubt became certainty. Something was wrong. Meanwhile, deep below, Chiamaka whispered to the mermaids, he heard me, I know he heard me. Her heart filled with hope for the first time she fell into the waters. From the day they visited the river, Prince Obinna's mind no longer rested. He watched Nnenna closely. She carried herself like a queen, but her words betrayed her. She forgot simple traditions, failed to recognize old faces, and spoke harshly where the real princess would have been gentle. So Obinna decided to test her. One evening, he asked her to play a childhood song that Chiamaka was known for. The servants brought out a flute, but Nnenna stared at it blankly. She laughed nervously and said, it's been many years, I do not remember. The servants exchanged glances. Everyone in the kingdom had heard how Chiamaka's flute playing once calmed even a crying baby. Her excuse felt hollow. Another time, Obinna took her to the marketplace. Children ran up to her, calling her Princess Chiamaka. They expected warm greetings, but she pulled her gown away and frowned. The market women whispered loudly, "This cannot be her. Our Chiamaka never turned away a child." By now, suspicion spread like fire. The elders too began to question. They told Obinna, "The river song must be investigated again. We feel deception is in our midst." Nena heard all of this and her fear deepened. But instead of turning back, she grew fiercer. She scolded servants, threatened anyone who stared at her too long, and clung to the prince desperately. Meanwhile, under the water, Chiamaka prepared herself. Every night she sang louder, her voice carrying solo and truth. The mermaids told her, "When men search with open eyes, they will find what was hidden. Your time is near." The priests and elders gathered again. Rumors had spread too far and the people demanded answers. The strange singing in the river had become louder each night, and fishermen swore they had seen a shining figure beneath the waters. Prince Obinna ordered a second ritual. This time, the whole town was invited. Women carried calabashes of palm wine, men brought goats for sacrifice, and children followed curiously. Even Enenna was forced to go, though her heart pounded with dread. At the riverbank, the priests began the chants. They poured libations and called, "Spirits of the deep, reveal what lies hidden. If a lie has entered this palace, expose it today." The crowd echoed, "Expose it today." The river grew restless. Waves splashed against the banks, though there was no wind. Mist swelled, and then a clear, sorrowful song rose from the depths. It was unmistakably Princess Chiamaka's voice. The crowd gasped. Women wailed. Some fell to their knees. Even Prince Obinna's eyes filled with tears. He stepped closer and called out, "Chiamaka, if it is you, give me a sign." The water parted slightly and a glimmering figure appeared just beneath the surface. Her face was clear enough to see. It was the princess, transformed with a silver blue tail. The people shouted, "It is her! Our princess lives!" Nana stumbled back, trembling. Her tongue clung to her throat. The priest turned to her and demanded, "If you are truly the princess, why does the river carry another spirit? Explain yourself." Nana tried to speak, but her lips shook. She muttered, It is a trick of spirits," but no one believed her anymore. The crowd's murmurs grew into angry shouts. Obinna stared at her long and hard. For the first time, he saw not the princess he was promised, but a maid wrapped in stolen clothes. His heart hardened. The crowd pressed closer to the riverbank. The figure of Princess Chiamaka shimmered below, her sorrowful song carrying through the mist. The priest pointed at Nena and shouted, "This is the deceiver. The true princess speaks from the waters. You will answer today." Nena's knees weakened. She tried to laugh, but her voice cracked. "I am the princess. This is only a spirit playing tricks." The people roared back, "Lies, lies." Mothers who had once been blessed by Chiamaka's kindness shook their heads in anger. Children who remembered her gentle smiles now clung to their parents in fear of the false woman. Prince Obinna stepped forward. His eyes no longer held doubt. "Tell the truth," he said firmly. "If you are truly Chiamaka, then name the old beggar woman who blessed you on the road years ago." Nena froze. Her mind went blank. She had no answer. A murmur spread through the crowd. Then Obinna's voice thundered, "You are not the princess. You are her maid." The people gasped. Guards grabbed Nena's arms as she struggled. She screamed, "No, I'm the princess. The river lies." But the river answered with a loud splash, and Chiamaka's voice rose higher, clear and pure. "She betrayed me. She pushed me into these waters." The crowd erupted. Some shouted for punishment, others wept in rage. The priests lifted their staffs and declared, "The river has spoken. The liar must be judged." Nena shook her head wildly. "No, please." But her eyes darted to the waters, and for the first time, she saw the dark shapes of mermaids circling below, waiting. Her heart was filled with terror. The crowd grew restless, shouting for justice. The priests raised their staff high, and silence fell. One of them spoke with a grave voice. This woman deceived the kingdom, stole the honor of our true princess, and mocked the spirits. Such treachery cannot go unpunished. Prince Obinna stepped forward. His face was heavy with sorrow and anger. She only lied to me, he said. She tried to bury truth itself. If not for the river's mercy, would have lost Chiamaka forever. The people agreed, their voices rising. To the river! To the river! The guards dragged Nena towards the bank. She fought wildly, screaming, No, no, forgive me. I only wanted to be loved. Tears streamed down her face, but no one listened to her. The priest declared, Let the river judge her, as he judged the princess. If her heart is guilty, it will claim her. If she speaks truth, let her be freed. With one push, Nena was cast into the river. She screamed as she fell, and the river swallowed her. For a moment, the water went still. When the water calmed, Nena was gone. The people stared in fear. The priest nodded slowly. She has been taken. The river has claimed her as its own. She will remain there as a spirit, never to walk among men again. At that moment, Princess Chiamaka rose higher in the water, her eyes shining with tears. She whispered, I am free, but I cannot return yet. The priests bowed their heads. We must seek a way to release her from the curse, they said. Her kindness saved her before. Perhaps it will save her again. The people fell silent, waiting for hope. The town returned to the river the next day with the king and queen, who had rushed down in grief when they heard the news. The queen cried out at the bank, stretching her hands towards the waters. My daughter, my child, come back to me. The river rippled gently, and Chiamaka's face appeared below the surface. She smiled sadly. Mother, father, I'm here, but I cannot rise. The water holds me. The priests consulted one another. Then the elders spoke. This curse can only be broken by truth and sacrifice. The river must be shown a heart as pure as the one it tried to destroy. If Princess Chiamaka's kindness is greater than her pain, she will be released. The people turned to her. Obinna stepped forward. Tell us, Chiamaka, what do you wish? Shall we fight the river for you? Shall we demand it to return you by force? Chiamaka shook her head gently. No, the river has laws. I will not curse it. I will forgive, even Nena. Her envy destroyed me, but I will not let envy rule my own heart. The priests raised their staffs. So be it. If she truly forgives, the waters will open. The crowd grew silent. Chiamaka closed her eyes and whispered, I forgive her. May her soul find rest. Even as she remains bound to the waters, let peace return to this land. Suddenly, the river began to glow. The water parted slowly, and the mermaids released her. The shimmering tail faded, and her human legs returned. The people shouted with joy as she rose from the river, alive once more. The queen rushed forward and embraced her. The king wept openly, his strong arms shaking. The crowd fell to their knees, praising her not just for her beauty, but for her heart. And Prince Obinna, he stood in awe. In that moment, he knew beyond doubt that this was the woman destined to be his queen. The return to the palace was like no other. Drums thundered, trumpets sounded, and the people filled the streets to welcome Princess Chiamaka back. Children ran before her, throwing flowers. Old women danced with tears in their eyes. Men lifted their fists to the sky, shouting, Truth has prevailed. Our princess is here. The king ordered 7 days of celebration. He said, Let every household eat and drink. Let no one go hungry, for the light of our kingdom has returned. Ghosts were roasted, palm wine flowed, and joy spread across the land. In the palace, the queen could not stop gazing at her daughter. She stroked Chiamaka's hair and said again and again, I thought I had lost you, but kindness has restored you. May your hearts remain as gentle as it has always been. Prince Obinna came to her that evening. He bowed low, deeper than ever before, and said, Now I know the truth of who you are. Not just a princess, but a woman whose heart is greater than her crown. I will honor you forever. Chiamaka smiled softly. For all the sorrow she had endured, she saw that her trials had revealed her heart around everyone. But even in the midst of celebration, she felt a quiet lesson in her soul. She whispered to herself, "Jealousy destroys, kindness saves." The wedding preparations resumed with renewed excitement. This time, the entire town poured its heart into the ceremony. No one doubted the princess anymore. Her story had become legend even before the wedding day arrived. And far away, in the cold depths of the river, Nenna remained. Her figure had changed into that of a dark mermaid, her eyes glowing with bitterness. She had gained nothing, while Chiamaka gained everything. The wedding day arrived with a sky clear and bright. From dawn, the town echoed with songs and drumming. The roads were lined with palm branches, and the palace gates were decorated with colorful clothes. Guests poured in from distant land to witness the union of Princess Chiamaka and Prince Obinna. Chiamaka walked through the palace courtyard dressed in white and gold. She looked radiant, but it was her humility that shone brighter than her jewels. She stopped often to greet the poor, to bless the children, to speak kindly to those who had once doubted her. Everyone wept with joy, for she had returned not only alive, but gentler, stronger, and wiser. Prince Obinna stood tall, waiting at the altar. When she reached him, he took her hand and said before everyone, "I did not choose her because of beauty alone. I chose her because truth, kindness, and forgiveness lives in her heart." The priest blessed them, and the people roared with cheer. Drums shook the earth, dancers twirled until dust rose, and songs of praise filled the air. It was not only a wedding, it was a celebration of truth over lies, light over darkness. But deep in the river, a shadow lingered. Nenna, now a dark mermaid, circled endlessly. She cried bitterly, her envy chaining her forever. The people spoke of her as a warning. Jealousy never wins, and deceit always ends in sorrow. From that day, the kingdom prospered. Chiamaka became a queen loved beyond measure. She ruled with Obinna in peace, and their story was told forever to all generations. The princess who forgave, the mermaid who envied, and the river that revealed the truth. The moral of this story is that jealousy destroys even the one who carries it, but kindness, humility, and forgiveness bring honor and freedom. Truth may be hidden for a time, but it always rises, just as the sun rises after night. Thank you for listening to that amazing story. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, and share for more amazing stories like this on Stories with Unoma. Thank you and see you in the next story. Bye!